Who am I? To think and to believe that I'm divine. Powerful, beautiful, and an offspring of the divine. I am the image and likeness of the divine. And so who am I to speak clearly to who I really am? I am spirit. I am soul. And I use this physical form. I am the being of light, here to fulfill love that's unlimited. Welcome back, everyone, to another amazing episode of The Next Normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and I hope that you're really settling into life in a way that you feel like this is your age of evolving. This is your age. Many religious traditions have sort of warned us of the end of times. You've heard of it. Prophecies, philosophies, seers, saints, mystics, psychics. They've been kind of pre-warning us. The end is coming. The end is coming. What do you call it? Armageddon. It's coming. The destruction is coming. They think it'll be through natural calamities, earthquakes, torrential storms. It'll be through nuclear release of weapons on countries. A nuclear war explosion will destroy us all. And nobody has actually told us how we've destroyed ourselves with vices, anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego. That's been happening for thousands of years, for many ages. And I wanted to talk to you about the destruction within that is taking place Every time I use anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego, algae, you know it's my favorite acronym. It's just easy for me to be able to just recognize when I'm hurting myself, when I'm creating my own destruction within. Algae is in my frame, it's in my consciousness. I'm destroying my truth. I'm destroying my path to freedom. I'm making it complicated when it doesn't have to be. Love is easy. Attachment is complicated. And so I wanted to talk about destruction versus establishment. What is it that contributes to the destruction of mankind, their values, their morals, when that gets corrupted, of course? But the scriptures and the seers and the prophets keep forewarning us. The Hopi Indians, Nostradamus, the world is coming to an end. Destruction is pending. America, Russia, Africa, America, China, India, Pakistan, Indians, Muslims, Jews, Christians, atheists, blacks, white, rich, poor. They say destruction is coming. What is this destruction that people talk about? What is this Armageddon? This final hoopla that takes us all under? What does it mean? Is there going to be global destruction? I know this might sound a little heavy or intriguing, depending on where you are inside, but I think we've already destroyed our world. Every time I allow the influence of algae to be in my thinking, in my speaking, and in my interactions with another child of God, there's a kind of a destruction taking place. Something is being chipped away. A brick is falling, one by one. So what is the energy that's contributing to destruction? Algae. And I really need you to think about this. And the consequences of algae thinking comes in even more subtle forms. Jealousy, competition, slothfulness, laziness, dishonesty, manipulation. It goes on. Greed, fear. And if you really give it some thought, and you look at the people around you without judgment, just as an observation, and then you look at yourself inside, are you also destroying your own destiny or destroying your own life by allowing the influence of algae to be a very prominent behavior inside of your consciousness? Now, what's responsible for construction is that you always have to find your way out of the debris of the mess you've made. I shouldn't have said what I said. Oh, why did I do that? Oh, I've made the biggest mistake of my life. How do you repair it? How do you reconstruct what has been destroyed? Love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. That's how. So let's take a look at algae, and take a look at algae, which is responsible for destruction of mankind and civilization. And then let's take a look at what will establish and recreate civilization. Okay? Let's look at not the destruction of buildings, not the cries of souls in despair. We've seen enough of that from the Holocaust to Palestine, to Africa, to China, to India. We've seen enough of all of that, right? The physical destruction of civilization. Okay. Now let's take a look at the cleaning up process and the reestablishment of that. A, anger. What is the opposite to that? I have to become peaceful. L, lust. What is the consequence of that? So many desires. You're so deceitful. Everything is so chaotic. You're never in touch with yourself. Lust is the greatest enemy of the soul. You are unfaithful. You deceive yourself and you deceive those around you. What's the opposite to lust? Purity. I respect you. I give you good wishes and pure feelings. My only agenda is to uplift you. That's a pure being. G, greed. Is more than enough to feed society. There shouldn't be one person going to bed hungry tonight, but there will be. Because some of us feel we need to consume more than the other. There's like an emptiness in the spirit. There isn't contentment. We need more and more because we're trying to fill a void. Never gets filled. So we cheat. We manipulate. We strategize. The opposite to greed? Joy. Contentment. It's already a soul thing. When you're soul conscious, you will be a contented person. When you're body conscious, the greed will drive you crazy. Attachment. To me, that's the greatest enemy for the soul. I can't live without this. Do you know who I am? I cannot let go of my identity or my role. Attachment creates complications, puts you into confusion, attracts obstacles, but yet we don't want to live without it. We've gotten so used to it. The opposite to attachment, love. Love is easy. It brings hope and benefit to all souls. It's a power. It's not an emotion. These are tools for construction now, okay? After I've done damage. Ego. Another great enemy of the soul. And ego and attachment, very close to each other. They will not work without each other. They're like best friends. The ego says, I am always right. It's all about me. It's my way or no way. The narcissist, the fear-based individual, the greatest manipulator of all time. So, I want you to think about it. There are two varieties of ego: superiority ego and inferiority ego. One thinks it's too good, the other one thinks it's not good enough. Get it? What is the opposite of ego? Wisdom, truth. Now, in order to reconstruct the temple, it comes together like that. Like that. Division, destruction, love, peace, purity, truth, joy. It reconstructs, puts things together, that which was broken. If you've ever lost trust in a relationship, you will have to rebuild it. Love, peace, purity, truth, joy. You cannot rebuild a relationship that's been broken with algae. It was the algae that broke it. Similarly, when we talk about world destruction, we don't turn inwards and look at ourselves. Each time I come from the influence of algae, I'm contributing to that critical moment in mass in life. Something's breaking down. But every time I come from soul conscious qualities, love and peace and purity and truth and joy, that's it. It's going to keep building up. It's going to get better. And so, perhaps we should move away from the concept of world destruction or Armageddon and not think about the world is going to be destroyed one day, but think about how many times you're destroying your own inner world because of algae. And it's not the world that's going to be destroyed, but it's the state of mind that's getting destroyed. Think about this. And if my inner world is falling apart, how am I going to make choices to put things together? It's not possible. So is it the world that's going to change and destroy, or is it the ages that are changing? And now I'm in this awakened age. This is the age of awakening to love, peace, purity, truth, joy, and all the cousins and aunties and uncles that comes with it. Intoxication, inspiration, royalty, contentment, determination, introspection, peace, happiness, everything. It's not the world that's going to be destroyed. It's just that if you focus so much on the algae, you're giving power to an iron aged time period, which has a limit. Viciousness has a limit. How long can you stay angry? It has a limit. Peace is limitless. Love is limitless. Purity is limitless. These are constructive energies of spirit. I know it's a different kind of a view of looking at when people talk about world destruction. I can't tell you how many calls I get when people say, Sister Jenna, I think this is the end. I think we're coming to an end now. And I'm like, yeah, it's been happening. That's why I'm on the side of construction, positivity, peace, purity, power, love, respect, honor, integrity, truth, joy, happiness, abundance, confidence. Got it? Let's take a moment and do a little meditation on this idea and this concept. Take a deep breath into your inner world and breathe out. Breathe in deeply and breathe out. The world changes, and so do I. There was a time that my inner world was complete and filled. It was golden age. I was the embodiment of perfection. Beauty, grace, peace, power exuded through my being. I was in alignment with nature, and nature was in alignment with me. It was the best period of my life. I was afraid of no one, and no one was afraid of me. It was heaven. Everything was perfect. And it's my duty at this time to recycle this age, this beautiful period of time, the Golden Age. I now will promise myself to lift my awareness out of this iron-aged world of such sadness and sorrow and fear, deception of Maya, illusions. I have a choice. If I anchor my thinking in an iron-aged consciousness, it's my own destruction, contributing to a world of confusion. But if I anchor my awareness in a world that's golden aged, like a living heaven, everyone smiles. Everyone is positive and respectful. Everyone has become an embodiment of their true worth because they did the work. I put my thinking presently in creating a world that is abundant and lacks nothing. I construct a future that is bright by first thinking of myself in that way. I am a loving being. I am pure. I'm peaceful. And I'm powerful. And these are vibrations that lifts up my spirit and helps me to rebuild my life and inspire those that are around me. Just take a minute. And sit in the awareness. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Welcome back. Such an interesting conversation we're having today, isn't it? I'd be just curious. I'm just curious. What would our awakened intelligence say if I were to ask it, is there really going to be a world destruction? I would be just curious to hear what it has to say. Wow, is there really going to be that? Let's hear what this little brilliant little gadget is saying. The concept of the world being destroyed is often discussed in religious, spiritual, and philosophical contexts, but it does vary greatly depending on the perspective. Here are some different views. Religious and spiritual perspectives. Hinduism. Some interpretations of Hindu scriptures suggest cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction by cosmic forces, but this destruction is part of a continuous cycle rather than a permanent end. Incredible, right? Christianity. The Bible talks about an eventual end of the world, often associated with the concept of the apocalypse, where the world will be judged and then transformed into a new heaven and earth. Buddhism. While not emphasizing a literal end of the world, Buddhism teaches that all things are impermanent, including the world, and that cycles of creation and destruction are natural. So there are environmental and scientific concerns, climate change. There are growing concerns about environmental degradation, climate change, and the potential for catastrophic events caused by human activity. Some scientists warn that if significant changes aren't made, there could be severe consequences for the planet. Astrophysical events. From a scientific perspective, events like asteroids, impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, or even the distant future evolution of the sun could potentially cause significant destruction to life on Earth. Symbolic interpretation. Many spirituals interpret the destruction of the world symbolically, referring to the end of an old way of being or consciousness, and the beginning of a new era, which I spoke a lot about in today's show. This can be seen as a destruction of ignorance, ego, or negative aspects of society, leading to a spiritual awakening and a renewal. I deeply believe in that. Philosophical views. Existentialism. Some philosophers focus on the idea that the destruction of the world could be more about the loss of meaning or the decline of ethical values, rather than literal physical destruction. Love it. So in summary, whether or not the world will be destroyed is a question that varies greatly depending on one's beliefs, perspective, interpretation of the term destruction. Some see it as a literal event, while others view it as a metaphorical or cyclical process. Love it. Thank you, Awakened Intelligence. That was amazing. We got so much different variations of it. But it's really up here. It's up here. Let's listen to our beautiful Sister Gita Effect and hear what she has to say.
As we know, yoga means union. The ultimate union is either soul with the Supreme Being. And for those of us who have experienced that, we need to move along compassionately and share, not with ego, because the understanding that we're all brothers and we're coming from the one source, there should be empathy in our sharing, compassion, nothing else. Thoughts for meditation. For the next few days, just take up 2 or 3 simple themes or phrases such as, I am a peaceful soul. I am a being of light and love. Spreading these feelings to others and the world. And I am a subtle point of consciousness, so different from the physical body. Repeat these thoughts gently to yourself, allowing them to sink. They will sink in more and more deeply until your thoughts and your feelings match each other. When this happens, the tension between what you think you should be doing and what you actually are disappears, and the soul feels content and full. In addition, practice seeing others as souls, seeing beyond the part to the actor who is playing the part. Soul consciousness is the highest consciousness that leads you to the companionship of the divine. Om Shanti. Have a pensive day.
Okay, so we're focusing a lot on victory over a loving inner space of your being. Here's one from the Avyak signal. When any scene comes in front of you in terms of the destiny or the drama, consider it a game. If you have this awareness, then you will be stable and victorious and not come into any upheaval. Since you belong to the Father, victory is your birthright. This is why the memorial of the Rosary of Victory has been remembered and is worshipped. You know how in many traditions they have this thing called the beads of the Rosary or malas? So in the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, there's a philosophical or symbolic spiritual connection to how the beads of the Rosary are symbolic to people who work together in harmony towards uplifting humanity and making it better. So I think together, one by one, we can restructure our lives, build our vibrations. By tuning into Next Normal on a regular basis, it helps you to build your vibrations. Every day you're being nurtured. You share it with your friends, you tell your relatives, your co-workers, I've been doing this every day, it's just making me feel so much better. We're into construction. We're into establishment of a better self and a better world. Let alone whatever's happening on that side. You're going to focus on the establishment of your being and your world around you. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Next Normal. Wishing you a life of construction, elevation, and continued growth. If you want to reduce your attachments, practice loving everybody the same. Life will become really easy for you. Om Shanti. Be good to yourself. Take care.